May I speak in the name of the one who loves me, who sustains me, and who brings me life. Amen.
Amen.
You don't need me to tell you that we are living in deeply unsettling times. Much of what we thought we knew a week ago, we know no longer. The once solid ground on which we walked is constantly shifting like the sands of a desert. And so, this Mothering Sunday, I hope that with me you will find some consolation in today's Gospel reading, as we are reminded that the bringing of life to the world is costly, painful, and sacrificial, yet is fueled by a love that is stronger than death. Imagine, if you will, for a moment, the wonder of that intimate touch of a child from deep within, those early pregnancy flutters of disbelief, the stretching of forming limbs, labouring through the pain and physicality of the turning of the baby's head and shoulders, when for both parent and child, life as they have known it is turned upside down. Those early months carrying a child, safely cocooned in a sling. The reassurance of a familiar heartbeat, experienced from without, rather from deep within the protective bubble of the womb. The rhythmic beat of life bringing comfort. Yet that cord, once severed, there is no way back. And we journey into unfamiliar territory. Nothing will ever be quite the same again. Today, many of us have a sense of what that feels like. Others of us know the tears, the anger, and the anguish of mothering. The void, the emptiness, the lost hopes and expectations, perhaps tears that tumble as you imagine a toddler's hand reaching up to be steadied. To the tears shed this Mothering Sunday, spent without a mother, without being a mother, or without mothering another, we add the painful denial of physical touch that just now is neither yours or mine to give or receive. Nothing will ever be quite the same again. And sadly, many of us too have a sense of what this feels like. Yet through these diverse experiences of mothering, we are reminded of what it feels like to bring life into this world, of what it takes to nurture and to sustain life, as we begin to realise that the task of mothering is not confined to mothers. For all of us, touch and relationship are inexplicably entwined. And if we seek carefully enough, we shall find that the gesture of touch becomes a touching gesture that is capable of transforming life. In our gospel today, although we might see Jesus bound to the cross, physically restrained, the impossibility of that physical touch that we have seen characterized throughout his ministry among the sick, the outsiders, and the disregarded. Jesus is seemingly prevented from reaching down, and his mother Mary unable to reach up. Yet what we actually hear is the word of relationship, the gentle, loving touch of the tenderly spoken words of the dying Christ, when without counting the cost of his own personal agony, there is compassion and consolation as he reaches out, entrusting to one another's care his weeping mother, Mary, and his much-loved disciple, John. John's life simply cannot touch Mary's without Mary's life touching John's, creating a new family through whom life in all its fullness is experienced in community with others, in communion with the one on whom life now depends. My life touches yours as much as your life touches mine. The very existence of community, with its origins in Creator God, as we see humanity reconciled to one another in the beating heart of Christ on the cross. God incarnate, God who touched the earth, who by his Spirit touches us today, longing that we might reach out to be steadied by the touch of his guiding love. For as God has touched the earth, earth cannot help but touch God. Touch and relationship with one another inextricably entwined. God with us. And it is to this often forgotten but strangely familiar beat of a godly rhythm of life to which many are prayerfully turning in these times of uncertainty. As a child turns to a loving parent in adversity, so intuitively we retreat, seeking the one who loves us, who sustains us, and who gives us life. Where are you? Fix this. Save us. I have. Not only evidenced by today's story of Christ's compassion on the cross, I draw also on the comforting words of Psalm 23, "The Lord's my shepherd. I am with you, leading you, restoring you, walking with you through the valley of darkness with my staff to comfort you and to protect you. Do not be afraid." Yes, physical touch is limited just now, and our physical attachment to Holy Communion taken from us, as presently we are denied the touch of the body and blood of Christ. And with it, a sense of losing that momentary yet deeply moving experience of Christ touch within. Yet nothing, not even death on a cross, separates us from the mothering love of God in Christ Jesus. And so this morning, as Dean Joe presides for us all here at the altar, our hands will reach out to receive that love, the reassurance of that spiritual touch, and the reminder that Christ dwells in us, and we in him, as we witness and participate in this service of Holy Communion. Mothering Sunday today marks the midpoint of our Lenten journey as we follow Christ into the wilderness to prepare spiritually for Easter. At the beginning of Lent, the Church called on us to make that journey a practical one, drawing closer to God by paying attention to the needs of the world, to the earth, to all of creation, by considering our footprint, what we take from and what we give to the world. That spiritual preparation continues with the tangible, practical applications of lessons arising from the theological reflections I have shared with you this morning. So we retreat. We follow the footsteps of Christ into the shifting sands of the unfamiliar wilderness, separating ourselves for the sake of and in the service of others, gifting to others the possibility of life through costly and sometimes painful acts of sacrificial love in the days and weeks to come, for the sake of the kingdom, for the common good. So we gladly and willingly restrict our physical freedom and we take seriously our tendency to overconsume. We show gratitude, patience and kindness to those who serve as key workers, and we accompany our neighbour, sharing with one another in sickness and in health. And in so doing, we will find ourselves spiritually nurtured and touched by our loving and life-giving God, who understands that bringing life to the world is costly, painful, and sacrificial, yet fueled by love that is stronger than death. To finish, some words from Mother Teresa of Avila. Christ has no body now on earth but yours, no hands but yours, no feet but yours. Yours are the eyes through which is to look out Christ's compassion for the world. Yours are the feet with which he is to go about doing good. Yours are the hands with which he is to bless. Amen.
Amen.